Welcome back to Real Mob Stories. This is your host, James Proctor. Hope everyone's doing well today. And what we're doing is diving into a heated controversy that's stirring up the mob world yet again. The Italian American Civil Rights League, which is a name straight out of the Colombo crime family's history, is back in action. And guess who they've got in their crosshairs? None other than Sammy the Bull Gravano. So they're fighting to shut down his upcoming TV series on FX, calling it a insult to Italian Americans and a glorification of a brutal killer. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. We've also got Roger Stone involved, legal battles brewing under the Son of Sam law, and a war of words that's getting uglier by the day. So let's break it all down. And before we get started, please do me a favor and hit the like button and also consider subscribing to Real Mob Stories with James Proctor. And without further delay, on to our feature presentation. So, to understand the present, we've got to go back to the past. So, the Italian American Civil Rights League was founded in 1970 by Joe Colombo, the boss of the Colombo crime family. And what started as a campaign against the FBI harassment of Italian Americans quickly turned into a full blown movement. And Colombo even got Hollywood to stop using the word mafia in The Godfather. A lot of success when it came to that. 250,000 plus members. There was two of the rallies that took place in New York, and was a couple of 100,000 each on that. And we know what happened on the second one with Joe Colombo getting shot and eventually dying in 1978 from his wounds. So fast forward to today, over 50 years later, and the Italian American Civil Rights League has been resurrected with a modern twist. And this time it's not Joe Colombo leading the charge. It's guys like Chris Colombo, yeah, Joe's son Chris, attorney Gerard Marrone, and even Roger Stone, the longtime political operative and President Trump ally. So they claim their missions to protect Italian Americans from negative stereotypes, and their latest target, Sammy Gravano. So, what's their beef with Sammy? Well, the Italian American Civil Rights League is calling the FX's upcoming Gravano series a slap in the face to Italian Americans. They argue that turning a serial killer into a TV star glorifies crime and disrespects the families of his victims. And so the last 2 weeks, we've seen articles by Jerry Capisi in Gangland News. And 2 weeks ago, it was talking about the Chris Colombo and his speech at the Christmas party for the Italian American Civil Rights League. And now this week, just now, they're talking about the controversy going on between Sammy Gravano and this new Civil Rights League, the resurrection of it. So let's be real. Gravano's not just any ex mobster. The guy's admitted to 19 murders and then turned government witness to take down John Gotti. Now, decades later, he's making money off his story through his Our Thing podcast, his YouTube channel, and merchandise, including that now infamous Bull 19 t-shirt. The Italian American Civil Rights League isn't just trying to stop the show. They're also planning to hit Sammy where it hurts, and that's his wallet. They want to use New York's Son of Sam law to block him from profiting off his crimes. But now here's the twist. This isn't the first time someone's tried to use this law against Gravano, because back in the late 90s, families of his victims sued him over profits from his book Underboss. They won a court ruling that forced his publisher to hand over $400,000. But here's the problem. Sammy claims he has no money. Maybe he's telling the truth, or maybe he's just hiding it well. Word is that he's been putting assets in his wife's name, and he's funneling money through LLCs to keep it out of reach from lawsuits. So even if the Italian American Civil Rights League sues, will they actually get anything? That's the big question. And and really it's more about the victims. Are they going to get anything? So Marone is an attorney. He's someone that represented the John Gotti's grandson, John Gotti, and he's being, I mean, at least from what Capisi's saying, that Marone, who's the vice president of the Italian American Civil Rights League, is a uh, friend of the Gottis. And so there's a couple of other attorneys involved with the Civil Rights League, but what they're looking at doing is being able to help the victims, the original victims, the 19 victims, the families of these victims, to get some of the money that is owed to them. They didn't get it back in 1997 when Sammy then went to prison. So the thought is that maybe they can use Son of Sam laws to get the money, but Sammy's claiming to be broke, and we did our own investigation. Lee and I did, where we saw that uh, you know his assets were put in his wife's name and under limited liability corporations. So if you just thought this was just a legal fight, you got to think again. This is really personal, between Gerard Marrone, who's, like I said, is the vice president of the Italian American Civil Rights League, and Sammy Gravano. So he's saying that Sammy's podcast and upcoming show are reopening old wounds for the families of his victims. He's calling Gravano a serial killer who's profiting off blood money. And Sammy, of course, isn't taking it lightly. He fired back on the IACRL hypocrites, who are just trying to make a name for themselves. And according to him, they don't actually care about the victims. They just want to take down a high profile informant. And Sammy's even accused Marone of using the controversy to promote his own street attorney podcast. And let's not forget about the Bull 19 t-shirt. Barone says it's like Sammy's bragging about his 19 murders, while Sammy, on the other hand, says he's only wore it a couple of times and stopped selling it when he realized it was a bad look. But the damage was already done. So what's the end game here? The IACRL, the Italian American Civil Rights League, is pushing FX to cancel the show. And they're also preparing a Son of Sam lawsuit to go after Sammy's money and recover it for the families of his victims. Meanwhile, Gravano, he's moving full steam ahead, claiming he has nothing to hide and nothing to give. With Roger Stone in the mix and Trump's name being thrown around, this fight isn't over. And don't be surprised if this turns into a full-blown political and legal battle. So now I'll tell you what I think about all of this. My problem with Sammy Gravano's his involvement in the murder of 19 people and how he uses his channel to attack the victims and also to glamorize what he's done. Instead of being a beacon of change and warning kids and others the travesty of that life, he wants everyone to think he's a gangster still. And, he promotes himself as a self-proclaimed Don of social media. If you look at everything that he has, the stuff that he sells, his merchandise, all of that, it's it is portraying Sammy as that gangster. And he knows that his audience likes that. Sammy has a brand just like anyone else here. And his brand is that he wants people to think that he's still a gangster. His cooperation in 1991 is the least of the problems that I have with Sammy Gravano. The whole Mafia organization is one of treachery and betrayal. There's no real heroes that come out of organized crime. I don't care if someone's a stand-up guy. I don't care if the person takes his time as a man in prison. The stuff that he did that got him in prison, that's not good stuff. Those are crimes against people. They're not victimless crimes. So, even though I'm here and talk about the history of Cosa Nostra and, you know, all of that, I also acknowledge and realize that these guys are not heroes. And so you have some guys that cooperate, like Sammy Gravano, and then you have other guys that don't, and they do their time in prison. But both of them did wrong. Both of them left victims, and that's kind of where the problem is. So instead of learning his lesson and taking this second chance in life, now he's got a third chance in life that he's been given. Sammy's made the decision, you know, back in 97, when he had the second chance, he made the decision to be involved in distributing drugs that targeted mostly high school and college age students and involved his whole family. But, let's be real, he did pay the price for that crime by spending 17 years in prison. But he basically got away, though, with the murders he was involved with, the 19 murders, including innocent victims like Alan Kaiser. And when Sammy Gravano published the book Underboss, victims went to court and they did get some of the money. I guess $400,000 that was owed to them from the unlawful death lawsuits that was involved with the Son of Sam laws from New York. However, Sammy thumbed his nose to the courts by putting his assets in the name of his wife are in limited liability corporations, so authorities cannot recover even a dime for his victims. So personally, if I saw some remorse, if he reached out to the families, I would at least see he was making an effort. You see, that to me, I haven't been victimized by Sammy the Bull Gravano. But for me, it's not the money. The money's never going to replace the people that he was involved with that got killed. But it will show some retribution. And understand, when a person goes to prison, there are two goals. One is punishment for the crimes committed, and two is that you want the person to uh, become, basically to grow and become a productive member of society. But unfortunately, Sammy's done neither, and his lack of remorse is even more evident with the Bull 19 t shirts, which he lied about and said had nothing to do with the 19 murders he was involved in. So, what else could that be? What else would the Bull 19 represent? He never stated what it represented. I am glad that he told Jerry Capisi that he didn't like the message, the look that the Bull 19 t shirts brought, but he tried to blame others for the t shirt. We know that Sammy Gravano has to approve everything involves his name or likeness, but it was a kick in the stomach of his victims' families when he was peddling those t shirts. I remember the criticism of Sammy Gravano being a contributor on Fox News. And I remember when I spoke with Fox News, who said they weren't going to have him on anymore due to the high number of complaints. Regarding the upcoming FX television show, it's doubtful that the Italian American Civil Rights League or anyone else can get FX to cancel the show. They're already underway with it, and the powers to be see it as a moneymaker. Regarding the possible Son of Sam lawsuits, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I just know that Sammy does a good job of hiding his assets by placing them in other people's names. Will this blatant disregard cause a court to issue a judgment or a contempt of court against Sammy? Who knows? I don't think so, but because it's been nearly 35 years since Sammy flipped. And, the Son of Sam laws are all unique. Each state kind of has its own laws. There's time frames for when you can file a lawsuit. There's time frames when you would be able to recover money based upon a crime. So each state has their own laws. Plus, I believe the federal system has their own law as well. So I hope that more than anything, regardless of the money, regardless of any of that, that the victims of Sammy Gravano get some sort of peace and closure. Let me know what you think. You know, this is more than just a TV show. This is about money, legacy, and the ongoing battle between rats and real gangsters. The Italian American Civil Rights League wants to rewrite history and protect its image. Well, Sammy Gravano, he's cashing in on his. But at the end of the day, who's really in the right here? Should FX cancel the show? Should Sammy be forced to pay up? Or is this just another example of mob politics playing out in the modern era? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and God bless you always.